Webinar 7 Tutorial 1. What I've devised in order for us to actually learn how to actually create the module, which is made up of about 4 components. I've created a series of sketch sheets, and added to those sketch sheets are the notes. So for example, module 1 is going to consist of the base unit itself, which is 6,000 by 3,000, and it's been extruded to 3,000 high. We have a series of tools which we can use to create this, but more importantly, what we're going to do is to use the measurement tool to add dimensions. So by using the various tools, we can extract, we can rotate, and then we can delete. So component 2 is the front wall, which is 600 by 3,000 by 3,000 high, and that includes the creation of a glass door, which we put to the front. Component 3 makes up of a rear wall, which is 2,000 by 700. This component, we're going to use the 3D warehouse, and we're going to bring in a door object where we can actually insert into the wall before we actually complete the object itself. And the final wall is an external wall which we could place around the linked modules. So we have basic settings we can use, such as by going into tools, there are a series of shortcuts which you may wish to use. Probably the most common one would be O for orbit and B for bucket. So in the tutorial itself, this is to continue from our lesson on Friday. We're going to create various scenes. So in scene 1 we have the base unit. Scene 2, we now have the external wall to the rear included. So by clicking on the plus symbol, we can add scenes, and what the scenes enable us to do is to take a snapshot of our model itself. So let's open up our SketchUp file. We're going to draw on plan the base. We're going to go to the extract tool, we're going to click onto the face, and then we're going to pull, and we're going to type in 200. By taking the offset tool, we can click to the edge and drag in. Again, what's going to happen is we can type in the dimension of 150 millimeters, and what we need to do is to extend the external lines by using the pencil tool to all 4 corners, and then we can use the eraser tool to delete the lines we don't wish to include within our model. We can go to extraction, we can select the line, we can pull it up, we can type in the coordinate of 2,800. By using the rectangular tool to the corner, we can draw another wall. This time it's going to be 600 by 150, and do the same at the other end. And then we can go to the extract tool. So if you make a mistake, just simply go back and use the back arrow, put in the coordinates again, and then we can use the extract tool. We can delete the line, and we can pull to create the height of our wall in this case is 2800. And likewise we could do the same with the opposite wall. In our tabs we have various layers that we've created. So to create this as an object, we need to select the whole shape. We can add additional tabs. So let's call this one base unit 2. Let's use the arrow tool. We can use the paint bucket to add a material. So for this one I'm going to use the yellow, and I'm just going to apply it to the one wall. So by left clicking and dragging the bounding box, it gathers the whole shape. We can go to edit and make component. Or the other option that we can do, we can right click on the screen to make component. We can then give it its name. Let's call this base unit 2. We can type in the details, then we can hit create. If we want to hide a unit, we can select it. We can close off the layer, and now we're back just to the single unit itself. So the process of actually creating a wall for the elevation, because we have this whole space to work in, so let's make sure that we actually work away from the model itself. So let's just draw a wall that's going to be somewhere in the region of 6,400 by 3,000. So we'll use the rectangular tool to create, and we'll type in the coordinates. I can go into 3D. Let's just orbit, so we can type O, and we can extract. So by pulling on the face, let's extract it. Let's give this a value of 150 millimeters. Let's give this, let's use the offset key. Let's put an offset in of 200 mil. And we can now use the push command. We're going to push this wall backwards, just so that forms an outer frame. So if we go back to the elevation view, we can actually see the wall itself. If we click on the tape measure, we can use the tape measure to actually create guidelines. So it's very good for how we set out. So if you're going to cut an opening into a wall, you want to set it out. So we can create those various points. So by clicking on, you can see that we can actually add the guideline itself. So 600 along, left click, you see the marker pointers there. We can create a guideline. Just pull it beyond. Let's just drag another one across 600. So we can work our way all the way through the elevation itself, or what we can do, we can just create one, cut it out, and then to actually create a new wall and actually insert it. So we have various ways of working, but the use of the tape measure tool is a very good method of actually working. But one thing we have to remember is that once we've finished using the guide tool, is that we really need to delete it. So if I look at it in 3D, you can see that I've added a new panel into the face itself. I can use the push command to set it back. So if I want to create a window, I can use this command. So for example, you see where my mark is still there, there's my next one working back inwards. Same thing, I can take it, I can push it in. And the third window is already there, and again, so this time I don't need to actually use anything. I can just take it, I can push it. In order to actually make this into a series of windows, I can use my offset command on all three, and I can then actually change the material, and by pushing and pulling I can actually turn that either into an opening. So if I use the offset, type in 50 millimeters, do it to all three. So I'm creating a series of 50 millimeter wide frames. So far these frames haven't got any depth, so I'll need to use the push command in order to actually give them depth, and I'll need to use the paint bucket to create a material. So I've got the line, I found my framework, and I'm going to pull it backwards towards the edge. I can do the same with all three. So I have my three frames. I can use the paint bucket. Let's select the glass. Let's select the three panels. Let's make all three panels in glass. If I want to change the material for the large panel, so for example, I'm taking the example from the mossy wall, which is a technology to absorb carbon from the atmosphere. So let me just apply glass to that final material. So I need to add a material also to the outside frame. And I have my component. So by applying, so you've got to bear in mind these are 3D objects, so we need to make sure that we rotate them. If you wish to bring in an object, go to the 3D warehouse, type in the kind of object that you're looking for. So in this case I'm looking for a door. So let's come down to the one that says door 1, and I have a list of doors. Some of the doors already have frames with the door in the open position. That's how they've been modelled. And simply to add the door itself, click on download, and you have the option whether you can either save it or you can actually import it into the model itself. So once you have the door itself, you can just locate it, you can cut the opening out, and you can actually apply the door itself. And so finally, to make this as a component, again, I'm going to left click on the screen. I'm going to locate its anchor point. I'm going to name the component. I'm going to give a slight description as to what it's about, i.e. the sizes. And then I can hit create. So what we've done is to create a building made up out of components. The advantages by having the component as separate items, it gives us flexibility. So for example, what I've done now, I've actually reopened the elements that I've hidden. I brought them together. I can then select my object. So here's my new wall. I can copy it and paste it. I can rotate it, and I can drag it, and I can place it onto my model. The advantage about this technique is it keeps each of the components separate. If you try doing it as one large model, when you go back to actually make changes, you spend a lot of time having to reconfigure your model. So if I go to scenes and I click on the plus symbol to actually make a scene. So this scene is called scene 6. And if I look by going through scene 1 and scene 2, what is created is a screenshot for each of those processes. So I hope that gives you a useful guidance and give you the confidence to actually work with this module. Anyway, thank you all very much, and see you next week.